Hey, Rob.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Staying warm.
Staying
Cold.
warm.
Yeah.
That
Hope
it is
everybody's doing
cold.
okay today. Doing anything special this weekend?
We went away took my mom on a little trip we got for her Christmas present with me and my brother and two sisters. We had a pretty good time. Went mm, over to Cherokee and
Over,
stayed in Bryson, I think Bryson City.
I seen y'all was playing some ping pong.
Yeah, we were playing ping pong. It got my
A little,
my
little
my
competitive.
yeah my brothers and sisters and me were a little on the competitive side. We don't like to lose and to beat one another. Uh,
I've seen y'all
that's
turn
what.
some games of croquet growing up. Pretty intense. I've seen some balls go flying across Papa's yard.
Yeah. Did you do anything exciting this weekend?
Not a whole lot. Just kind of hung out. I've been off all weekend, so trying to get some stuff done around the house. Worked on the boat a little bit, trying to organize. The season starts in a couple weeks, so looking forward to that. But other than that, I just stayed around the house.
Gotcha.
What's up, Nathan? Nathan's a good old buddy of mine from the military. We used to do back hugs because front hugs is a little weird.
Thank you for your service, Nathan, and you,
Um,
Dust.
Thanks, appreciate it. um, Tonight's conversation, Doc Talk. Learned anything from it?
That's Doc Talk can learning stuff from it. It could help you. Then again, it could hurt you. Um, I feel like sometimes if you've got in your mind, if you've been to a body of water and you're getting ready to fish a tournament, you're practicing, and you start catching a few, but not real good. But then you hear other people start talking around to how they're catching them. Kind of gets in your mind.
I always look at it like it's a good fallback plan. If I ain't got nothing else working, that guy on the dock might have been. I ain't against throwing something. You know, a couple years ago, I don't know if you remember at South Holston, we had a good conversation with a dude at the ramp at South Holston. We stood there and talked for about it was that first tournament of mine,
Yeah.
and I ended up using his and worked out pretty good. Ended up with the 14th place finish and got a check. Wish I'd have had more of his worms because I only bought one pack. My boater did too because old Rick looked at me and said, "You got any more of those?" And I was like, "I got one," and he's like, "I ain't taking it. I ain't taking it." I was like, "All right, all right." Not to say I wouldn't have gave it to him, but I had to cut it in half. Worked a little Ned rig on it.
I do feel like it can help you sometimes, put you on something that you might be struggling with. Um, I mean, sometimes you get in practice, you might get spun out, not catching or not the fish are not reacting the way you think they're going to react, um, and it kind of gets you in a tailspin. And um, hearing somebody say, "A guy helped me and chick one year, didn't realize it, but I think I finished 18th that year, and see was catching them cranking, and I was thinking I ain't caught nothing cranking. He showed me the crankbait, and I said, I got one of them. I'll try
Yeah, it, and kind of the reverse of Doc Talk. I think like the people we know real well, like the Robs, the Gavins, the JRs. You can kind of pick up on stuff they're not saying more than anything. You kind of like if I know Rob's onto him and he's telling me a little something, I can kind of put some pieces together.
and start speaking in code.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But, he starts talking about, well, when the sun's in the west and the wind's blowing north and south, I'll be like, yep, I know what he's doing.
Yeah,
Especially when I say, where'd y'all go? And Jacob looks at you like, I'll kill you.
yeah. Now Jake, he's not much on telling much.
Yeah, yeah.
And two with that, it gets to the point of it's hard to catch other people's fish. It's hard to go out and do what they're doing.
Right.
Because how many times have you fished a tournament and not catch nothing and struggle, and then come to find out the guy that won it was doing the same thing you was doing?
Yeah. And, I mean, that kind of, I don't mind coming in behind you in an area because I know I'm probably throwing something completely different than you are. You're a power fisher, so I'm gonna go in behind you and try to finesse them. That's the way I am. Unless I see the flipping stick out, I might as well just leave them alone at that point. Try to troll past you.
But I tend to think sometimes it helps, and then I think more than other times it hurts you because it gets in your mind. It kind of you get in tournament and you start fishing and you're thinking this ain't working. Should I do what they're doing? And sometimes it's a timing thing uh, of being
Kind
in the right spot.
so you think it kind of makes you quick to come off your stuff a little bit if it ain't working?
I think so. I think sometimes you'll just give up on what you was doing to um, do that. You know, when I won at Norris, we found that pattern cranking, and I had two or three people that I know that were staying at the motel with us uh, that said, "You better not put the jig down." Uh, and I was thinking,
What do they know that I don't?
what do they know that I don't know? But I stuck with what I was doing. You know, uh, they they are jig fishermen, uh, and I guess they were catching them. But I just stuck with what I was doing, and it played out the right way. But it would have been very easily to got because I driving to the ramp that morning. I'm thinking because I've got all these crankbaits tied on. I'm thinking, should I have tied a jig on?
You know what? And as a co-angler, I think, when I talk to my boater the night before, and especially if he's got a plan, and talking to him, you can tell if they're set on that plan. Or, I've had one or two, but hey, I don't know. I haven't practiced. We're just going to go out there and wing it. But, I've rode to the ramp before thinking, I've got what he told me to tie on, but I'd really like to have what I know I was practicing with Rob or something like that. So it does play with you some.
Yeah, and I think your baits, your fishing going to be more of what you're confident in,
Uh-huh.
um,
You,
versus throwing what you want.
Jake says, I don't care to tell what I'm doing, but I'm not telling where I'm at. And I found that, and he said, I found that pattern you're talking about and the bait.
uh,
I hope he gave you credit, Jake.
yeah, I did have to borrow a DT6 from
Fishing the co-angler that year too.
the K, huh?
Was he
No,
your
from the
co-angler?
co-angler. Jacob was that year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He had one of those. A good son would have had two of them, so he could have give Dad one. But I
Or
had to
about four
borrow
of
one.
them.
Yeah. I fished nervous all morning that morning because I only knew I only had one of them.
I know. Well, it's funny you said that because I was going through I told you I was organizing some boxes, and I've got a couple favorites. And I'm like, man, I've only got two or three of those. I probably need to start looking. As long as I got three, I'm good. I get down to one or two, I start getting a little nervous, especially fishing that team trail that I'm going to be fishing. And you got Steve in the back of the boat. If I'm on it, of course, I'm going to throw him one too. And if one of us loses one, then we're kind of screwed. But if I can get him to use a hook for a change.
Yeah. But Jake did. He caught. I guess he caught bigger fish than I did, but we caught about the same amount. I think when I was throwing that bandit that day in practice. Uh, but
Bad at that. That's a shallow runner, ain't
it was 200 series, so it was about. mm, I guess they go down to about 10, maybe.
it? Okay.
I think I was going below him because Jacob was throwing DT6.
Yeah. Well, it panned out for you.
Yeah, it did. But it. But then on that side of it, sticking with your strength and fishing uh, that you've got confidence in, you know, might work out better for you than listening to what others are saying uh, on the dock and around. Um, because you got to really know too, who's this information coming from? Do you know them well? Do you think they'd just be telling you something? Because fishermen are very peculiar on what they tell,
Yeah.
and sometimes they'll tell you something that's totally not working whatsoever, just to get in your mind and make you start doing that. Uh, so you ain't figured out what they're doing.
There's a lot of private conversations too between buddies. You know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that there is.
especially if we all got 2 or 3 days to practice.
Yeah.
That first one this year, I've popped off some training, so I'm going to be totally winging it. Which Salt Lake I zeroed last year, so I guess it's really nothing to lose this year. North, but hey, it is what it is. If I can get
That it
one,
is.
I got a couple things that I got confidence late in the day that day. My boater was doing. I mean, he was good. I mean, he didn't do nothing that I couldn't have caught him. I just stubborn. So he was flipping,
Well,
and
yeah.
I couldn't put that D worm down, and I should have went to a creature bait and stuck with it. But oh well.
Hindsight's always 2020.
You know, and I started throwing that Senko at the end of the day. You got a couple. Everything was short, but at least I got bit. I wasn't
I
getting bit by
caught
a
a ton
D-worm
of
to save my
fish.
life.
So I caught a bunch of fish.
There's one guy at the ramp. He said, post tournament, he said, I threw nothing but a spook all day. He said it was one of the funnest days he's had underwater. He only caught 2 keepers, but he caught a ton of them. He was a boater too. He said I threw it all day long. He said all I caught was 2 keepers, but probably 30 fish.
And plus, it's a different time of the year too. We're going just depending on how the spring is, but it could be a scoping tournament.
Yeah, not a big fan. But I mean,
So
it's where fishing's at, so it is what it is, right?
yeah. So when you practiced 2 days with me, and you see what I'm doing, and then you hear somebody tell you something different, how much does that play in your mind throughout the day, knowing that I could be catching them doing what you know that I was doing?
So here's what I try to do, especially if it's something that if I can still fish like we fished in practice and let him do his thing, I use it. Because I'm like, okay, if he's catching them, I'll switch to what he's got or something similar. But I know this is working. So as long as I can kind of somewhat do what we're doing, Now if we're beating the bank and then he's got me in 100 foot of water, I'm kind of, left no choice. But last year at the regional, I knew if I got close to the bank, I could get one, even if it was a little short spot. He got me close enough to the bank. I missed the bite, then I got that one keeper, and then we was away from the bank. But he was like, okay, enough of that.
Yeah, that's what both of my co-anglers said. Do you think I can catch them on a crankbait at the regional at Del Hollow? And I said, yeah, probably. He said, will you be close to the bank? I said, there'll be times that you can probably throw to the bank and catch them, which they did, and they caught fish.
Yeah.
But I was out there in 60 and 70 foot of water.
Yeah. Now day 2, I was near the bank all day. You just couldn't really cover a whole lot of good spots, with that no motor.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a cool dude. It was a good day. So circumstances sucked, and I think he knew they sucked. So
that it is. Anytime something like that happens, it makes it. I think that gets in your mind too. I mean, if you find out the night before, hey, I'm your boater, and we'll be fishing with the trolling motor all day because my motor's blowed.
Yeah. And I didn't tell you this. As soon as I got in the guy's boat, I knocked over his buddy's monster. It was dark in the floor, and I couldn't see it. And his buddy had jumped back in the boat, so I didn't think anything was. I was like, man, this day's starting off so good. So, as a boater, how much are you weighing in at that like if you're struggling a little bit, and that co-air's like, me and my buddy caught him yesterday practicing doing this. How much are you taking that? Like, when are you saying, all right, let's go try your stuff?
I've done that before, and it's worked out. But I've done it too, and it was like, that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you have a little regret not sticking with your stuff?
Yeah. Um, I try to with give co-anglers the benefit of the doubt because one year on Cherokee, I was co-angling with a guy and we were cranking, deep cranking, and he said he done his stuff and he caught like one, and he said, "You know anywhere we can catch one?" I said, "Yeah, we can go catch five on this one spot. I know." We went over there and he caught two keepers and I caught three. And he said, "Is there any other spots you got?" And I said, "Yeah, there's another one right around the corner here." And he never would go to it, went right back to doing what he was doing. And I was thinking, you know what? We could have probably had a limit, but we ended up the day with three apiece. And uh,
Caitlin says, "Hey,"
hey, Caitlin.
and Steve told me to be nice because I told him he needed to fish with a hook.
Be
I'll never
nice.
forget that day. It was cold as crap that day too. It's about like today. We was on Cherokee. I tied the wrong one on. Oh, loved to death.
Didn't have a
Like
hook in it?
what it was is, so I'd caught one off of a Kitech or a swim jig. Well, I guess it was a Kitech, and he had took one off his A rig that he had, but he
Uh
accidentally took one of the he took the dummy off instead. He wasn't paying attention and started throwing the dummy.
huh. I don't know why I can't keep them hooked up.
Hey, but I tell you what, me and him, we've had some goobery moments, but I wouldn't trade it for anything most of the time.
It's about like when I was at the regional this year and the barb was gone out of my hook and I didn't realize
Yeah,
it.
Gavin told you, Rob, you need one with the guy. You're just fishing for
I
trout. You got that barbless.
was. I had a barbless hook on. I was wondering why they wouldn't stay hooked up.
Right, right.
But
I did that.
you go ahead.
I was gonna say I did that to you. I filed it down.
You filed it down.
Yeah.
But and I think I did that at Norris last year. We run up there. A guy said he was catching some bigger fish than, and my stuff was getting shallow. I was catching the tail end of the spawn, uh, and it just wasn't getting big fish. So I took that chance. I made a long run to his stuff, but we ended up going back to what I was doing within an hour, I think.
So next subject.
Okay.
What are you throwing? Which one would you prefer, a lipless or one of your DTs?
Right now?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I know you're
It's
a
tough.
swear man.
I,
I
I've
like the
caught a
lipless
lot
myself.
on lipless. I do too. I like throwing it. The only thing I don't like about a lipless crankbait is the hookup landing ratio you have. Seems like it's a lot easier for them to throw a lipless,
Yeah.
especially if they come up on top. Um,
When it comes
but
flying
now
back at you.
I do love throwing a little DT6 a lot. Uh, but I've caught several fish on both, so it's kind of a toss up. I'd say if I went right now, they would be a lipless crankbait tied on, um,
I like the lipless because
DT6, probably flat side.
I can work out lipless at any depth really. That's what I like about it. Because I'm trolling along. I can
Yeah.
keep it around the 4 foot, 6 foot, and sink it down low. I think that one year South Holston during practice I was letting it fall pretty well while you was throwing or on bluffs.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking that if we was on Chickamauga right now, I'd probably be throwing a lipless.
that's what
It might not be working right now, but I'd be throwing it.
hey, I tell you what, last year my boater was on to something. We was all over him until we had boat trouble with the lipless, and he actually told me to back it down. He I ain't gonna show it, but yeah, I had the bigger version of it. And he's like, "Here, get you one of these," and yeah, but we caught about 5 or 6 fish real quick, and kind of let it rest, and had boat trouble, and never tied it back together. So
now.
I did
But
see like the next week he ended up winning the tournament, or 2 weeks later, and I'm sure he was throwing that same thing in that same spot.
I caught quite a few fish that day last year throwing a lipless. If I could keep Cal from throwing it in front of me.
Right. Okay. Yeah. He's going to be on the boater side. I hope he does well. I know he's nervous about it. I've talked to him a little bit about it, and I think he's making the right choice of going the BFLs instead of the Toyotas first to get one under his belt. So, not that he couldn't hang with the Toyota guys, but
it'll be interesting this year with Cal on the boater side.
I'm gonna be curious to see how much talk there is in the house with 3 boaters or 4 with Clark. You know, that's getting up there. Me and Josh, it's gonna be all ears, I'm sure. As far as I know, they don't have a co or anything.
Is Short on here tonight? He ain't commented.
I hadn't seen him. Steve said that the tackle box, local tackle store here, has the new coal shad in stock. So that's a plus.
I haven't thrown any of those yet.
Yeah, you said Jake had some though, didn't he?
Jake's got some. Yeah, I don't have any coal shad, but now Jacob does. He's thrown them some.
He needs to give Pop some. Every time he gets in the boat, he has to hand you a coal shad. I think that's a fair trade.
Shoot that. So you prefer lipless over a small plug?
Unless it's like Dad's like, of course, in the heat of the summer, I'll throw that short little. I'll throw even a DT4, DT6, but yeah, this time of year, I'm pretty much. I mean, I might throw a flat. I'll have a flat side on, but I'll have a lipless crank. That's pretty much too. It's going to be on the deck. So that and a swim jig.
That lipless crankbait though, it can. Probably one of the biggest fish I've ever had on as a largemouth was that chick on a lipless, and just the head come out of the water thrashing, and the guy was with. He said he lived there, and he said, "Dude, that fish is over 10. Get it back down." And the time I got it back down, I felt that all of a sudden I just felt that little old lipless do this. Come through the water, and I said, "Crap, he pulled off."
That's why I love chick. I hadn't caught one of the big ones yet, but I mean, there's that chance on every cast.
Yeah, especially this time of year.
Yeah, it's and that's why I was telling Whitney with that boat. I said we had some boat trouble. She said, "What is the boat thing?" I said we had to just stood there until somebody come and help. So we was only in 5 feet of water.
And that's the thing too down there. You're fishing shallow right now.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, I said if we'd have stood on the boat, I said I'd maybe been up to my waist in water. Maybe that'd have been it.
It'd been a little chilly.
Oh yeah, it'd have been cold for sure.
So how much dock talk are you going to listen to this year?
Not a lot. Not a lot. I mean, I'll take, like I said, I'll take it and kind of put it in the back storage closet in my head. And if I'm just spinning out, I might go to it just to kind of ease my mind a little bit. But I mean, especially in the BFLs, I got Gavin, who's a live scoper. I've got you, who's a cranker or a buzz toad. I got cows gonna throw everything under the sun. If I ain't got the information I need out of you three, I'm in trouble. Not to mention I'm gonna be throwing out the back of the boat too, hopefully for most practices. So and that trail that I fish on Sundays, that East Tennessee Bastion Trail. Mikey does
Yeah.
a draw on Saturday night, so there really ain't a whole lot of time for dock talk because we don't know where we're fishing until the night before. I would love
So
to fish it.
what happened this weekend?
He drew with Watauga. I talked to Mikey earlier in the week, and I told him, I said, I was hoping Patrick Henry, maybe South Host, even Cherokee. He drew with Watauga. I ain't gonna lie, it's a little cold for me. Steve had to pick up my mother-in-law from the airport at 2, so I'd have been by myself, and I wouldn't have had nobody to fuss with. So it just I'm going to have to catch him on the next week. Now in 2 weeks the trail starts, so I ain't gonna have no choice. Wherever he draws, it is what it is. So I'm either hoping for a 50-degree day or not Watauga.
I mean, you could go practice Tuesday or Wednesday morning.
Yeah, with an ice scraper. Oh man, yeah, they're calling for some big snow. I'm assuming you're gonna get some snow up there. I don't even know if you can get to it.
Yeah, they are calling for snow here, so we'll see. And I'm not a cold weather fisherman.
It don't bother me bad, but I want to be on a lake. I got some confidence.
Yeah,
I don't want to be guessing. And plus, it gets pretty windy and choppy up in Watauga, and it's that don't help in the cold at all.
yeah.
Now about 12 o'clock today, I walked outside and it was kind of blue skies and felt pretty decent. I thought, well, that wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, this morning it was a no go.
I'm pretty much don't like cold fishing. I would rather sweat and beat mosquitoes than to freeze.
Hey, that last Tuesday night I fished with you, boy, it took me forever to get my ankles all healed up from all them mosquitoes. we even sprayed. Yes, Mom, we sprayed bug spray.
I don't know if he wore sunscreen though.
It was dark. It was dark. For those that don't know, my mother is Robbie's aunt, and she always gives him instructions every time we go fishing. Make sure Dusty puts on sunscreen. Whether I do or not, Rob tells her I don't either way.
Yeah, I tell her I'm trying to get him to put it on, Teresa, but he won't do it. He won't listen.
Yeah. He's all the time getting me in trouble.
Yeah.
For those who's wondering where Gavin and Cal are today, they're at an expo, probably on their way back now, I'd say, from slinging some fishing rods.
Yeah, I think they said they got done at 5 or something to this evening, and they was in, where was it, Raleigh?
Raleigh, yeah.
Yeah, Raleigh, North Carolina. So
I like going to the expos. I'm not so sure how I'd like to fish them or work them.
Fish them. I'm almost certain. That mean they might have a tank in there that you could fish maybe at some.
True.
I'd say you meet a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
I would say you hear a lot of dock talk.
Oh, yeah. And there's a lot of people that either like your rod or hate your rod, I'd say. You're slinging rods. You get a whole lot of that.
And that's the thing, too. You got, with us four, you've got, I've been with Denali, I guess, now for 13 years. And then Dusty with Kistler, and then Gavin and Cal with MMA.
And they're all three solid rods. They're good rods.
But I still aggravate them a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of dock talk about the rods, especially if we see one get off, or somebody says I broke a tip or something like that. Then it's kind of like if you'd had a Kistler, and then Gavin or Cal's like, shut up.
Yeah, but they would be, and most bass fishermen, uh, every one of them fished a tournament and they had a big one come off or multiple big ones come
Yeah,
off.
yeah. I very very few people have I ever heard not say I had the right ones on to win, but I lost them.
Yeah.
I've said it too. I've said,
Yeah,
I've,
every
you
one of
know,
us has.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and and a lot of times I believe they probably did have them on, but it seemed like there's some people that I know catch them or have them on and they break off or they come off every tournament.
every time.
And I'm thinking, if that's happened to me, I'm changing my hooks. I'm changing to a different brand of hook, and probably changing different line if it's happening every time I go out.
Right, right. Yeah, I like the guy that that says it, and you're like, dude, you only weighed in one. You
But I
lost four.
had four. But I had
Yeah,
four on.
I had the other four on, and they were all four big.
Yeah,
I made it.
every fish that gets away is big.
I had a 12-inch spot I weighed in, but those other four smalls were huge.
Yeah. One of the biggest fish I ever caught or had on, it broke off.
Yeah,
That's the biggest fish I've ever seen in this lake.
it was a 15-pound smalley. The record's only 11, right, for the world. Oh, yeah. Speaking of hooks, what hooks you throwing this year?
Probably
Bang.
stingers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to the VMC red line a little bit. I still got some
Right.
trocar, but those red lines are expensive, but they're sharp. They can't lose too many of those things.
If I'm flipping, I'm probably flipping with the trocar.
I'm gonna fix that this year.
What?
I'm gonna get you on them red lines.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. You ain't gonna
buy
be
me a bunch.
No. I'm gonna tie one of them on, and at the end of the day, when you're like, I didn't lose a single fish flipping, I'm gonna tie it on at Douglas, and you ain't gonna know it. And I'm like, I know, you didn't lose nothing. That's my hook.
It is getting closer to tournament time. What we got?
It's like the 9th, ain't it? So we're
I think so.
inside
9th
60.
of March.
Yeah, we're inside 60 days for sure.
So we're getting closer.
I've got 3 with the East Tennessee Basin Trail before then. Then I got, surprise Whitney, I got a BFL on the 9th and one with the East Tennessee Basin Trail on the 10th. She's going to love me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'll get yelled at from the end of the day 10th all the way through the 15th.
Unless you cash a check, she won't say much.
Yeah. I bring home 2 checks. No big deal. I can get away with that in the trail one, but the BFL, she can look up the stats and back. It says you finished 82nd.
It don't have a check beside your name.
Yeah, I'll hit her with the Gavin, but I finished in the top 83.
Yeah, I finished in the top 83.
He's like, I had the top.
That.
Yeah, I had top 45 finish. Who says top 45? Love me. He's probably listening in the car right now. He's like, that.
He probably is. He's probably listening. Hey, if you're listening, Gavin and Cal, hi.
Hey. That guy that ride with, I think that's the guy that took him down there, posted that his boat for sale. It looks good. I liked it. Yeah. I would have jumped all over it if I had that kind of money.
Well, you work at the post office. You got that kind of money.
I ain't got that kind of money.
Oh, mercy.
That's a couple tournament wins down the road.
Well, I gotta say happy birthday to my fishing buddy Chucky Lowe. He I don't know if he's on here tonight or not, but I think he listens and watches.
Happy birthday, Chuck.
We fished a long time together.
Y'all do the Thursdays, right? Or is it Tuesday?
Yeah,
Or both?
Thursday nights. He
Thursday.
fishes with somebody else on Tuesday nights, and then me and him fish Thursday nights together.
I'm gonna try and make some of those Tuesday nighters.
Are you?
Surprise with
it. You're starting to get off early on Tuesdays.
If not, my day off is Thursdays if we go back to my normal schedule. So, I mean, there's a Thursday night or two. So if you're interested in babysitting 3 wonderful, sweet kids that range from the age of, at that point, 5 to 11, one night a week, please let me
know. At a free of charge.
I mean, if you want to do that, the kitchen's. I mean, I got a fully stocked fridge, pantry with all kinds of snacks. You really don't need paid. You just eat whatever you want.
You'll be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Mama's gonna get you.
Ma, you don't need to be fishing. Need to be at home with those babies. Parker wanted to get on here tonight. She wanted to be a special guest.
Did she?
Yeah. If we could understand you, I'd let you.
She'd talk about the wrench.
Yeah, the wrench and everything. Yeah.
I had one on, but the wrench stole it.
It's funny. Steve made a comment on my babysitter. He's like, "Surprise, Kim, you have the kids today." It sounds like a plan, Steve.
Hey, Steve got it worked out.
I pay her with love and kindness.
Yeah,
I took her daughter off her hands. She owes me. She can have her back, or she can bunch of kids. I mean, it don't matter.
Yeah, Steve's got the plan worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Be there every Tuesday night.
Yeah. I can text Steve, hook up the boat. He knows where the keys are. Be ready to go when I get there.
Yeah, I have it ready. Pull it at the end of the driveway. I'll be there.
Now, when I come down and fish by myself, I'd ask Steve if he wanted to go down that night. It was last minute, severely last minute. He's like, we ain't got enough time. And Whitney come home about 3 minutes later and said, just go. Go fishing. You'll be fine. I was like, all right. I sent him a picture from of the lake. He's like, you turd. He said, I didn't know you was actually going.
Hey, Steve, all you got to do is have him call me and say, hey, I'm on my way. I'll put you down.
Yeah, never mind those 5 we're going to put in the live well on the way. Steve says, you know she can hear, right? Yeah, I know. She loves me.
I mean, that's a pretty good trade.
You said your trail's starting up in May, right?
Yeah, first Tuesday night in May. We'll start that back up.
And the Thursday nighters start kind of
same time, I think. Most time they're either a week ahead of us sometimes or a week behind us.
You know, that's what we need to start doing.
I think a new guy's running that Thursday night trail this year.
Okay. Anybody we know?
Was on that. Yeah, Red. I know him by Red. I don't remember his first name. I think he's taking it over.
And anybody watching, if y'all are doing a tournament, weekly tournament or something like that, let us know. We'll put it out here. I mean, get it out to whoever's listening. You know, I know there's some on Patrick Henry, Boone, South Holston, Cherokee. I'm sure there's on Douglas. So
yeah, there's a tournament on Cherokee just about there in that time frame of May to October.
Yeah.
Tournament on Cherokee just about every night of the week.
Yeah. And up here, I mean, between Boone and Patrick Henry, I think you can find one pretty much every night. So I know I think a Tuesday and a Thursday nighter and a Saturday nighter on Boone, I think, and Wednesday and a Friday on Patrick Henry, or Wednesday and a Saturday.
You know,
As long as they're all starting them back up this year.
yeah, I enjoy fishing them when you're competitive.
That's why I told Whitney. I said, he asked, you don't fun fish as much anymore. I said, yeah, well, I got that competitive. It scratches that itch, I guess you'd say.
What
It gets you.
would you rather go just fish now, or would you rather be fishing a tournament?
I'd say either. But at the end of the day, if I had a choice, and I would fish a tournament for the competitive side, you know. And if I am fun fishing, I catch myself, you know, if I got a tournament coming up on, let's say Cherokee, I'm fun fishing on the weekend before. I'm going to Cherokee to try to practice or kind of see where they're at, something like that. I know they're going to move some, but I find myself prepping or fishing the tournament more than I am fun fishing anymore.
And then when you're fishing, when you're practicing, say you start practicing on Thursday for a tournament on Saturday, and you're going to practice Thursday and Friday, and Thursday you start just catching good fish, and you're thinking the whole time I'm thinking, I wish the tournament starts tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Or so let's say Thursday at practice, I start catching them out the back of the boat, which ain't happened a lot, but sometimes. Yeah, you're like, I wish you'd put that rod down for a minute. We're about to move, Dust.
We're moving.
Yeah.
You caught too many here.
Yeah. You remember that day I went and practiced with Jake? I did that. I caught two real quick, and then he said, "If you catch another one off that bank," I think he said he was going to cut my line or something like that. I forget what it was, because I caught two off a bank real quick. He said, "If you catch one more off that thing, it basically was going to fight." It was two, I think, and three casts. So yeah, it was. He's like, "All right, you're done over there, Dustin. You're done.
You're done. You're done. Don't throw back over."
Yeah. You got on a trolling motor. I was like, "There it goes."
One more cast.
Yeah, come on, one more, Jake.
Which mine and Dusty's practice days are competitive.
Yeah.
We see who can catch the most sticks, the most leaves, and the most fish. And we always have a big fish for a cheeseburger.
Yeah. And sometimes if we ain't catching nothing, we start counting who's peed the most.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah. When Dusty's up on me, I said, "Well, I've caught more sticks than you have."
Yeah, he starts throwing up on the bank, dragging sticks off.
You got to have fun. And sometimes I think we get too serious, and I think that's when you spin out. You just relax and fish and try to, but your mind's going 90 mile an hour, trying to figure out what to do. Am I doing the right thing? Are they catching them on this end of the lake or that end of the lake? I think the more your mind's clear on what you're doing, the better off you are.
Yeah, and I like that icebreaker, that first fish. If it gets to be about 12 o'clock and I ain't got the first one, I'm bad to kind of start spinning and doubting and everything else.
Yeah. Craig told me one time we was waiting for a BFL, and he pulled up and gave me some homemades, and he said, "Tie these on and go throw them." And I had all these other rods setting up there, different things that I laid up there just in case. And he said, "Put all that other stuff back in the box. 2 rods, all you need. One with this color, one with that color. But the rest of them up." I said, "Well, what?" He said, "No." He said, "It's eye candy." He said, "It gets in your mind and plays tricks on you." And, I've thought about that a lot. And when I've got 40 million rods on the front while I'm casting one, thinking, Maybe I should be throwing
Yeah,
that.
that is nice when you can narrow it down to 2 or 3 and just okay, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know this is no secret. I like to throw the deworm. If they're on that deworm, I'll have about 3 of them tied on. I'll have 2 different colors, and one of them that I think they're going to catch it on, I have 2 of them tied on. So,
Yeah.
and I might even have one Texas rigged and one shaky head, just to kind of see. Speaking of that, I got to buy some more.
Some more deworms.
Yep, yeah. There's a particular color, and yes, Steve, I know they're at the tackle box.
Hey, Steve, what color is that?
Well, Whitney's the one I have to keep in eye. She'll be like, yeah, my husband likes to fish. He likes to fish with these deworms and this color called. And I'm like, shut your mouth. I love you, but daggone. Don't tell them your bra size. Quit telling them what color.
Yeah, that because we're so secretive. Nobody else is throwing the same colors we're throwing.
No,
they're top secret.
There's one guy. There's one guy in Georgia that is fishing with it because he put me on it. Other than that, no. And there's one store in Michigan I know that has them, and I order it from a famous guy's brother.
Hey, talking about colors, what do you think is the most popular color thrown on soft plastics? Or, yeah, we'll go soft plastics.
Green pumpkin.
Green pumpkin is probably, but we still think it's top secret. Nobody else is throwing it.
But the secret sauce is the flake. And you know how bad we get too. We're like the Berkeley green pumpkin's better than the Zoom green pumpkin, and the Zoom green pumpkin's better than this green pumpkin. You ain't throwing the right green pumpkin. I'm like, all right, guys.
Well, I mean, some of the green pumpkin colors that other brands got versus, Zoom and Berkeley. Some of the other green pumpkins just don't look like green pumpkin.
Steve said they were sold out today.
Steve bought them
all. Brad Stapp, I need you to stock those up for me. Thank you. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Dust, they're out. I went over and they didn't have none after I left.
He'll get in the boat with a daggone bag of them like it's huge. You're like, you can have one if you want. Oh, Steve, I love you. But yeah, speaking of that time I got you that bag of worms for a special lake. Yeah, you made me send a picture. You made me look at them. Yep, those look good. And then you smelled them. It's like they don't smell right. They're close, but they don't smell right, Dust. Oh, well. All right.
Doctor those up.
Yeah. They had the right color, the right profile. They just didn't have the right scent.
They just ain't got the right smell.
And then sometimes I ain't told you that. Sometimes I get mad. You be dipping them in your bag of whatever your juice, your homemade concoction.
Now that is top secret.
Yeah. Don't think I haven't thought about stealing that stuff. Just slide that on into my tackle bag. I don't know what happened to it,
Rob. But no, those during practice I did catch them on that one that you got me. But during the tournament I caught bigger fish on the good ones.
Yeah, but unless you found some more, you've got to be getting pretty close to being out.
I'm almost. I think I've got 1 or 2 left.
I was gonna say you've been on like 6 left for the past 3 years. I don't think I haven't noticed, Rob. Oh, I got 6 left.
I start gluing them things back together.
Taking a lighter to it.
Yeah. I'm thinking about trying to figure out how to mold that and melt some baits down that smells like that and pour them in that.
I've looked, and I'm sure there's uh, a certain mold that gets it pretty close. But I think getting that
Yeah,
color profile down would be the hard part.
yeah, probably.
I'd love to start making the molds, but I mean making the worms. But I think that'd be pretty cool. Catch them on something you've made,
Yeah,
and know that nobody else in the lake has that one.
yeah. Just about every jig I throw besides swim jigs is the jigs that I've made.
Yeah, you
Uh,
give me a couple of those one year.
yeah.
I need some more. I'm just I'm,
There's
I'm just
plenty in here.
I'm just
There's
throwing it out
plenty.
there.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
I
Are you get
I hadn't even poured no jigs this year. I still got enough heads
We got to pour them
poured.
shaky heads one day.
Yeah, we got to do that.
You ever get them hooked?
No, I
You
have
don't need the
not.
hooks.
You know how I am.
I know.
The night before the tournament, I be got crap. I got to pour some heads.
There was one year I fished with you on Cherokee. I think it was that day that it was like a gazillion degrees. I taught you into fishing the tournament over the summer. You was bumming heads on the from somebody out the boat ramp. You wait till last week. Like, hey, you got any of those shaky heads?
Well, they're the ones that was originally making them for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh,
I got you.
I mean, they're fun to pour. Sometimes it gets depending on if you're pouring a lot, and then it gets aggravating.
Right. Unless you're making money off of them.
Yeah, that too. But
Well, we're
we're
kind of
coming
getting
up on
close.
that hour, aren't
Yeah, it's coming up on that hour.
we? We need topics, uh, techniques to talk about, what people like to do, uh,
Yeah,
and kind of
if you got a tournament trail you're fishing, you want
yeah.
to talk about that, bring it up. We'll talk about anything on here,
Oh yeah,
and we need to have a special guest on here again. That's
we
not
do.
Parker.
uh, I wonder how many Dallas Cowboy fans were disappointed.
Well, they're available next week, so if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan and you want to be a special guest, holler. We might.
I know Uncle Gary is tickled to death.
Yeah, at lunch today, he's like, I'm gonna go watch them. They're probably gonna lose, but Steve wants to talk about night fishing.
Night fishing.
You're the subject matter expert there in night tournament.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I hate night fishing.
Oh man.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So night fishing next week, and any other topics too. Feel free to bring up.
Bring up other topics, other bait. What's your favorite baits to throw? How much your favorite technique that you like to do?
You want to debate with us? We said something you don't like, or not
we'll
don't
debate
like,
it.
but said something you don't agree with about the DT6 or something like that. Bring it up. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Well, we don't want to fight with nobody or nothing like that. So, but, I mean, we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about what we like and your opinion and everything else. And who knows, maybe send you a link
that's the thing. That's what makes us all different. We all got different opinions.
Yeah.
Different fishing techniques. Just because you throw a crankbait does not mean you fish it the same way everybody else fishes it.
I cut my hooks off.
I use one stinger hook in the back, a Trocar wide gap 6/0 hook.
I'm using the breakaway hook system to get on and it breaks off. It's working pretty good. But y'all have a good week, everybody local, be careful in the snow. Everybody not local, y'all getting snow too, be careful. Supposed to be pretty bad, pretty cold. Hopefully we get some warm weather and get on the lake soon. Get y'all some pictures, tournament, and everything else. So y'all have a good week.
See y'all later.